What's up? Hello, everybody. Welcome back, you beautiful little cuties.
Welcome back, fam. ChillNSpill, fam.
ChillNSpill. This is episode 9.
Episode 9, bruv.
Episode 9. We
9.
have one more for double digits.
9 weeks straight.
9 weeks straight.
Jeez.
Good job, sir. Good job. Proud of the consistency.
Thank you. I didn't expect this. But not bad.
We thought like what, 3 episodes, then we're done.
That's what you guys thought.
Yeah, we're back.
All right.
Imagine this is the last episode.
It's not.
All right. My name is Tanesh.
My name is Kirtan.
This is ChillNSpill podcast. And today's topic, what's today's topic?
Depression.
For all the hype and laugh and all that, the topic is about depression.
We're about to beat depression. That's why I did that shit.
Let's get into it. But before that, cue the intro.
Alright guys, so welcome back, episode 9. Quick recap, episode 8. Episode 8 was something else, bro.
Something else.
Yeah, it was a pretty serious one.
Yeah.
We spoke about nudes and not just our nudes, but just nudes in general.
Yeah.
It's a pretty serious one. Today is another kind of...
Did we show our nudes on the episode? Who knows? Maybe we would have. So you have to click on the episode and find out.
After this episode, okay? Alright?
So, yeah.
But yeah, okay. So,
yeah. Oh, by the way, before we go on to this episode, quick reminder to you guys again, you can listen to this episode podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Follow me and Kirtan on our social media platform where we ask you guys the IG questions and all that stuff, where that's how you guys can contribute to the episode as well.
Yeah.
And it can all be a one nice discussion. Follow ChillNSpill on YouTube, TikTok and IG, and that's where we post up clips and all that stuff as well,
Yes,
so you can share it.
that was my Siri. Sorry. Siri heard you saying some stuff.
Right. So do all that following, do all that subscribing, do all the liking, like the episode and all that stuff. Now let's get into today's episode. Depression.
This is a serious one.
Yeah.
This is a very highly requested one.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming a lot of people nowadays go through mental health issues, right?
Yes, correct.
So
Why have we not talked about depression so far? Because this was asked from the beginning.
There's a reason for it. We all have stories to tell. Me, myself, you too as well, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
We've had very tough times, even this year specifically, with everything that we've gone through. Specifically, this one is more of like relationship-based for this year, right?
Yeah. If
And
you guys watched episode 1 onwards, you guys would know. Yeah.
You know, and now, for me personally, I can't speak on behalf of you. For me personally, I've picked myself up and I'm doing good again, you know, in life and all that. And I didn't want to talk about it while I was down.
Yeah.
If that made sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And first of all, I'm happy for you, man.
Hey, thank you.
That you feel like you've sort of picked
Yes,
yourself
sir.
up. Do you think you're
back.
all the way up there yet?
Almost there.
Alright.
Just a little bit more work to do, which I'll share a little bit later on. But yeah.
And also another reason why we were hesitant initially to speak about this is because, you see, at the end of the day, we are not some kind of mental health experts, or we are not, we are nothing like that.
Yeah.
Half the time we talk about this stuff, this is not because we know this is a fact or anything like that. This is just because we're not these experts and all. We didn't want to initially talk about it. But then we thought about this is like the whole idea of the show is to talk about things from our perspective.
Yeah.
So as long as we put that forth and say that this is from our perspective, this is not expert opinions, this is not facts per se. This is more like what we believe and stuff like that. Could be wrong, could be right, could be debatable. That is up for everyone to sort of...
Basically, what Tanesh is saying is we're not mental health experts. We are here just telling a story, our stories. Maybe you can just pick up a thing or two and maybe you can try to apply it on yourself. I'm not saying it works. If it works for me, it could work for you. That's all we're saying.
Correct. Take it as a...
That's all.
Take it as a story from a friend. That's all.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So depression. Yeah.
How do we get into this topic, bro?
I'll ask you straight up.
Oh, all right. Let's go.
I'm not gonna bother asking you, have you been depressed? Because obviously you have. But tell us if
how you know I've been depressed.
It's because I don't know who this guy is. A stranger who just came and sat down beside me. So I don't know what happened in his life, bro. Have you been depressed, bro?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, see? So, take us into a bit of a story time.
Okay.
What's your experience and what's your journey with depression?
I've gone through lots of stuff in life. Everyone has, obviously. Just very different aspects of life, I guess. Okay, so me personally, I'm going to put this... It's a little bit of a story time. So I'm going to share a little bit of a story
go for it. Kirtan's going to take it away for a bit. Might be a bit of a story time, but we'll listen.
I'll try to keep it as short as I can, but as simple as I can.
And I'll try to listen without interjecting as much as I can.
No, but ask me anything in between,
sure.
so I can share as much as I can, okay? So growing up, I've always been like this very shy, introverted kid and all that. That's just one part of it, right? And I've never really been able to express myself. So in terms of how I feel, and I'm a very emotional person.
Okay.
People who are around me would know that. My close friends, my family, my parents, and all that. And that is something that I've struggled with actually, because my emotions are big. That means when I'm happy, I am extremely happy.
Okay.
If I'm sad, I am extremely sad. There isn't really anything in between. Okay, if that makes sense.
Either all the way up or all the way down. Okay.
That's why some days when you see me, I'm pumped in the gym. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
And the other days I'm just dead, but I just show up. You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
So, long story short, for the first half of my life, okay, this was me at the age of 19, 20. I went through whatever I went through, from a breakup at that point, failing in my exams and all these things. It brought me to my lowest. Okay. And that actually got me a little bit depressed. I was never clinically depressed. Like, I was never clinically diagnosed that I was depressed. Okay. But I was just in a very bad state of mind. And it was just a mental health issue where I realize now when I think about it, I had a lot of anxiety back then. And I didn't know what anxiety was. And actually, when I think about it now, I had it even when I was younger.
Okay.
It's like a very heavy feeling on my chest. Okay. And the first time I really noticed it was actually when one of my past relationships, someone basically cheated on me.
Okay.
And that was the first time it hit me super hard. I still remember that feeling. That's why. Okay. That is one. So over time, I went into my studies, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, I just hated how I felt. Okay. I hated how I felt.
Just about yourself in general.
Just myself in general. Like, I felt I had no purpose in life. Does that make sense?
Okay.
At the age of 19, 20, I had no purpose in life. And I was just beating myself up for it. Like, what are you doing? You're sleeping late. You're waking up late. You don't know what you're doing. You don't really know there's a direction in your life.
There's no motivation.
There's no motivation. There's no motive in terms of what you're trying to do. You're just there just for the sake of barely existing at that point.
Okay.
Like, I know my parents love me. I know I had my close friends and all that things. But I was just not happy with where I was, if that makes sense. Okay, that's how it started. And then the whole gym life started, all that. Confidence came up, all that stuff. But my main depression point really hit when I was at the age of 23.
Okay.
This was about 2018 and 19 and 20. Okay. 2018, I hit certain milestones that I set for myself. I hit
2018, we were 23, yeah?
Probably 22.
Yeah.
22, 23, around
23
there.
lah. Jesus, okay.
2018 was when it hit me really hard because I had certain milestones I set for myself that year. And I hit all of it. So I did amazing things at that year. Like, I got the physique that I've always envisioned in my head. That's the first thing. I had some photo shoots done with really big people back then where I really looked up to.
Okay.
Did some collabs, came on TV, went on radio, came on newspaper, all these things. So once I hit all those milestones, then it hit me really hard. What's next? What's next?
I understand.
And I was like in my final year of my engineering degree, and I don't want to be an engineer. What's next? So all of that hit me so hard. And I didn't apply for a job or anything like that. I basically just did what I wanted to do. And I actually, truth be told, it picked up really quick.
Okay.
So in that sense, it was a blessing. But at the same time, so I made money and all that. But then I was like, okay, like, am I just going to keep doing this? Like, this just, what's the purpose? Like, I can't be doing the same thing every day,
When
right?
you say the same thing, you're talking about training clients.
Doing online stuff, all these things. But I just wanted more and more.
You wanted like a bigger something. Yeah.
So that's when I realized I'm like my biggest critic. That's number one. And I tend to just mentally self-abuse myself. Mentally self-abuse, yeah. Okay. And at that time, because I was making money and all that, I started drinking. I started getting into alcohol. And I had like a bit of a bad alcohol addiction actually.
Okay.
So this is something I think I've never mentioned even on Instagram and all that. I had a pretty bad alcohol addiction.
Okay.
My parents know about this because I kind of opened up to them in 2019.
Okay.
After 3-4 months down the road, I started going out so much, clubbing, alcohol addiction. Alcohol addiction was bad to a point basically like once I'm done with work, I would go to Speed Mart.
Okay.
Sit in the car, buy like 5 bottles of beer, drink, cry in the car.
Right.
Yeah, like it was really bad. It was damn bad to a point where it was happening almost every night.
Okay.
I had this one story where I drank 11 nights in a row. This one my parents don't know, okay? Yeah. But
now they do.
Now they do. But I'm opening up because maybe someone else can relate out there as well. And alcohol was my way of escaping my problems.
Okay.
Or running away from reality of life. And it's not like I was doing bad or shit like that in terms of like, how my life was. It's just mentally I was like I was just not happy. I was not satisfied. I felt like I've lost my purpose, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I started just mentally abusing myself.
You just don't know what the hell.
Yeah.
Why are you waking up every day?
Yeah. I'm just barely existing. Like throughout the day. But don't get me wrong. I still trained every day. I still had the physique. I did everything I had to do. But just especially when it's dark, late at night, I don't know why the thoughts get so loud in my head. That demon in my head is just so fucking loud at that time. And it just kind of took over that, and then alcohol was like my way of escaping it, if that makes sense. 2019 till 2020. I opened up to my parents in 2020. My bad. 2020. Then lockdown happened.
All right.
Lockdown happened. Lockdown was the biggest blessing in disguise for me because I had to stay home. That's one. And I started like spending a lot more time with my family.
Okay.
That's when I got really close to my parents, a lot more closer.
Okay.
Especially to my brothers as well. And that's how I kind of just found myself again. But it took me some time. I really came out of it last year, actually.
Okay.
2022.
But then you say you locked down and that's when you really sort of found yourself again. But your whole issue was that you didn't know your purpose. So how did you find your purpose in a lockdown?
Okay, funny thing, huh? Right before lockdown initiated, I actually flew to Perhentian on my own.
Okay.
1 week before lockdown,
Okay.
It's like God's blessings. I don't know how. It happened exactly 1 week. When I went there, I went alone for a reason. Because I was just struggling a lot with alcohol was one actually, but also because I had another relationship back then. Just came out of it and I just couldn't figure myself out. And nothing to do with my partner. I knew for a fact that relationship failed because of me. So it's all like that self-blame, or you are not good enough.
Yeah.
You know, Kirtan, you fucked it up actually. It's on you, right?
Yeah.
So I needed like a change of environment. Flew off somewhere else, started meditating, did a lot of things on my own. In that 5 days I was there. I was in Perhentian for 5 days alone.
Okay.
Just put myself in a position where it was mostly couples and all. So I just wanted to just sit there and just observe life. And I'm a beach person. I love sitting by the beach. And that's how I found myself again. Actually, started from there. So when lockdown happened actually, a couple of things, my brothers and all my family. I had one friend, Sharma, as well. He was there with me throughout the entire of lockdown. And how I found myself was because I just kept myself in a position where every day I started just thinking in a very positive manner, if that makes sense, Like, okay, I know for a fact lockdown is not going to last forever. I was very well aware of that.
Yeah.
And I also told myself, whatever position I'm in, it's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
And I actually did film some videos and all that of myself, like being really down, talking about things. I've never posted stuff like that up yet.
Okay.
There's a reason for that. But why I filmed it is also because like I knew I'll always come out of it. But I just don't know when. And I did like this thing where I had a whiteboard at home. I did like a countdown. Like, okay, by 30 days, I'm going to be okay. Because I know for a fact I will be okay. But how did I come out of it? I started just focusing on myself again. I started loving myself again. I told myself, okay, chill, listen. My weakness is basically where I am just so hard on myself. So relax, take a step back in order for you to take 2 steps forward. That's what I told myself. So let's realign everything. Let's look at our goals. Look what we want to do in life. Look at the things you want to achieve. Okay, and there's no rush for anything.
Yeah.
At that point is when I realized, okay, money doesn't really ease the pain for me.
Okay.
It's more of like I need like a purpose, a drive to give me like that fulfilling kind of life, if that makes sense. And that's when I realized, okay, that's the kind of person I am. And fast forward. It took me about 2021, halfway there. 2022, last year was when I really came out of it. That's why last year I put myself in a position where I was like, okay, fuck, it's time. I feel like I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back. Does that make sense? I'm back. That's why I started doing modeling again. I started doing the whole pageant shows. I put myself,
right?
There's a reason why I did all that. Not because I've always wanted to be a model. Fuck no. It's actually because I wanted to put myself in a very uncomfortable position.
And you wanted to give yourself a project. You wanted to give yourself
so I wanted something different every time,
Okay.
And so that's the long story short, basically. That's
I get it. I think the reason, I mean, not to say the reason, so when people think about depression, people think that something has gone wrong in your life and hence you're depressed. You know what I mean? And again, this is all based on my understanding of depression, probably Kirtan's, and there could be, better explanations for it. But depression doesn't just happen because something has necessarily gone wrong in your life. But in your case, for example, it's the lack of something you needed in your life. Like what fulfills you is that sense of purpose.
Yes.
When we say the sense of purpose, it is not something like, why are humans brought to earth and what is our purpose? It's not that. It's more like what drives me.
Yeah.
What makes me get up every day and go about my life.
Yes.
And this doesn't apply to everyone, I've noticed this because it applies to me and I have that as well. And I'll talk about it when I come to my sort of thing. But there are a lot of people who'll be like, you know what? I wake up, I go to my work, or I go study and this and that. I come back, I do this. I have my family, I have my partner, or maybe not a partner or whatever. And at the end of the month, I get my salary. I get to go out on the weekends and do this and that. Okay. I have a routine lifestyle. Okay. All great. Or maybe they run a business. Okay. I have all that. All right. There's nothing to complain about. I'm extremely happy.
Yeah.
So there are some people like that. And that's fine because whatever their sense of purpose is in being able to do all of this. They find their sense of purpose in that. Then there are some of us who, just because you get up every day, you go do your work, you make your money, you do have your family, you do have your partner, that alone is not enough to satisfy us.
Yes, correct.
there is some of us out
Yes.
there who need something more than that. Like, it could be down to our upbringing. It could be down to just the way we were,
So many
the way we
factors
grew
to
up,
it.
and so many
Yeah.
factors to it. And it's just different ways of looking at it. Because some people be like, nothing went wrong. Like in the story that you said, you have your family there, you have friends per
that's the
se,
truth, that's the
and
truth.
all that stuff. And
Yes.
it seemed like you had like some relationships during this point as well. In your story, you figured out you didn't want to be an engineer. You figured out the
Yeah.
gym shit. You had a fucking good physique.
Yeah.
You know that a lot of people
Yeah.
crave for, and all this stuff. And so, what are you complaining? But that's
Exactly.
that's the thing.
That's the crazy part,
You know,
right?
You're not complaining. It's
Yeah.
it's a lack of something.
I had a very big thought about it. So whatever you mentioned right there, right, it's all very external.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized for me it's very internal. It's always been in my head.
Okay.
And that's why when I see certain things online, for example, people who have it all, like artists, who's got all the money,
Yeah.
all the fame and everything, but then they commit suicide. You wonder why.
Mm.
People be like, oh, he's just spoiled. So much of money, do drugs, for example. But truth be told, maybe he did the drugs because he's trying to escape whatever that was in his head in the first place.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize things
Yeah.
like that. So that's when I started like understanding certain people. For example, the two people that really helped in terms of artists, one is actually Eminem.
Okay.
Okay, Eminem was one of the first few artists I started listening at the age of 14. Another one is Juice WRLD. Okay, so I'm wearing his hoodie today. Legends never die.
All right.
Legends never die, bro. But
Okay.
these two people helped, and these two people actually got really into drugs as well.
Okay.
But one unfortunately died. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Juice WRLD died.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one unfortunately died, but because his music is just a lot on depression, even though he had the money and all that. So it's things like that for me as well. So that's when I realized, okay, there's two ways you can look at it. Some people go through it very internally. It's just demons in their head that takes over.
Yeah.
For example, it's as simple as, you know what, I tell this to some of my clients. I don't know if I mentioned this to you before or not. It's
If
like, you know how before you have a cheat meal.
If you didn't, you don't love me enough.
Hey, before you have a cheat meal, you sit there and you contemplate in your head, should I eat this or not today? Like, I want to, you know? And not a cheat meal, you're supposed not to have it actually.
Oh, okay.
You're supposed not to have it. Then you contemplate with that voice in your head, like, just take it lah, one bite only, one bite only. Like, that is the demonic voice in your head that's telling you to do it, but you are contemplating and fighting against it.
Yeah.
But the moment you do it, you give in to that craving.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say guilty pleasure, but one of my ways of escaping was the alcohol. Because when you drink, you get a little bit more numb. You get numb and you just don't feel anything.
Correct.
And
You're
you
not-
let
you're
all
not
your
thinking too
walls
much.
down. You don't think too much. Suddenly you're a bit more okay. Even if you
this
cry.
is not promotion for alcohol.
This is
by
not
the way.
promotion for alcohol, right? It's definitely not. Okay,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a way of how you drink responsibly, and that was me drinking very irresponsibly, which kind of made my situation even worse.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because you were
Yeah.
trying to escape from.
Yeah, I was really
Because
trying
you
to
were
escape.
thinking and you were in your head so much that you wanted to get away from it.
Correct. But thank God I found myself back, and of course with the help of my parents, people around me, my loved ones, my friends, and all these things basically. And most importantly, I found myself back.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I looked myself in the mirror, a very good look in the mirror, and I was like, "Are you really happy with where you're at, man?" Like, fuck no. I was
I'm
like,
assuming
no.
you're not looking at your body at this point. Like you're looking at overall.
No,
in
definitely
life.
no.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That's why I always tell people until now, I've been training for 8 years.
Yeah.
And 8 years has nothing to do with me looking how I look like physically at this point.
Yeah,
I do
yeah,
it
yeah.
because it's completely mental.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
completely mental. And that's why I do what I do. Because the physical part at this point, you see, because I'm natural as well, I'm not really going to get huge at this point. Nothing's going to happen. I'm 8 years in training. I know for a fact I train today. I'm going to look the same tomorrow. Nothing is going to happen. That's the truth, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm doing it for my mental state. When I train is when I pump my brain. I get a little bit more happier. My happy hormones are there. I can think more. I can do more. I can dream more. I can be more.
Right. And that's sort of, you figured out that is that is one way to make yourself, to steer yourself constantly in the right path.
Yes.
Or in the path that you want, basically.
Yes,
so
and
that's sort of
that's-
like a formula for yourself. Train every day and all that.
That's my way of loving myself. That's why I
Yeah,
realized
that's way
it.
of, yeah.
And
I
everyone
get
has their methods, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Because
what-
it doesn't have to be the same case for everybody. Everybody can't be. If it's not for everybody that they will, if they work out, everything else will be great for them. Like
No.
some people, it works that way. Some people it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying something.
Yes. I was gonna ask, what about you? Have you been depressed before? Or are you depressed right now? Like straight up.
Okay, straight up. I would say, okay, so a bit of a caveat here, a bit of a disclaimer. That's the word. I can say that I am depressed now, but
Okay.
to be honest, depression is something that someone told me this.
because it's a very big word, you know. It's a
Correct,
heavy word
correct,
actually.
correct.
Right? That's why I
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
this now. I'm not clinically diagnosed with
Correct.
it. You know.
That's the thing. So you're supposed to be clinically diagnosed with it, and that's when it's depression. So, but for the sake of this conversation, when we say, okay, I am depressed or I have been depressed, we're talking about what is our understanding of depression. Why do we think it's depression? And I'm not someone who says that I'm depressed very lightly.
Yeah.
I've always been very clear about that, and I'll come to that. But this is more like, okay, to my knowledge, obviously these days we have Google and all that stuff. I'm not diagnosing myself, but I think I am. Let's keep it that way. Let's keep it to I think I am.
Okay.
I don't want to very factually say I am.
Okay. Fair.
That I'll leave it to the experts, right? But someone recently replied to one of my status on Instagram and said, diagnosis, you're a major major something depression. I was like, okay, thank you, doctor. I didn't ask for the diagnosis, but thanks, I guess. Because I posted about something that was a way, something I was feeling a certain way. I would say for the first time, for the very first time in my life, I'm genuinely going some form of depression.
Okay.
And this is where I come from. I don't think ever in my life up until, so I'm 28 now. This is 2023. Up until 2022, I've never been anywhere close to being depressed.
Or basically being sad, but in a constant loop of sadness.
Yeah. And I've not really been that sad for that longest time as well. Maybe thankful to a lot of people in my life. Maybe I've been blessed with a more peaceful life moving so far. I have been sad, for things like, okay, back in high school, I liked this girl, and then then we broke up, and then I was sad for a while. I made a short film out of it and stuff like that. Those are small things. That's nothing to come with depression. I've always been someone who recognized myself as someone who is happy.
Okay.
Like my default state is happy. And I've always told myself that I need to be happy in order to function. And I have seen people very close to me where their default state is not happy. They are by default depressed. They do have moments of happiness, but because of their life, their upbringing, their everything, they are sort of like an ongoing loop of being depressed. And when they return to normal, it is usually a version of being depressed, a level of depression. When they're happy, that is the out of norm. Okay, the last 1 week, I was actually quite happy. That is their norm. But for me, no, my norm has always been happy.
Okay.
Now and then I get extremely sad about something or worried about something, and I get a bit of anxious, anxiety about, for example, when I started doing my business, your business, your income can be up and down. And some months when it's down, I get extremely anxious, and then that leads to a lot of stress. And that leads to me not being able to function well in my relationship and with my family and all that. Those would be my those would be my now and then moments. Once in a while, I get those, and I go through the anxiety and all that stuff. But because I recognize myself as someone who's genuinely have to be happy, and I work so hard for it. I try so hard to just bring myself back to that position of being happy and being content in life. So I will fight it. I will solve the issue that I have as I'll go at it as as aggressively as I can to solve the thing that is making me feel like shit, so that I can return to my normal way. In the last 1 year or so, obviously, as most of you guys know, I've gotten divorced, or I'm getting a divorce, and I've gotten through a major relationship thing. And this is my first major like a breakup as well. Like, I've not had like serious relationship and breakup previously or whatever. This is my first time going through it. And also it's not just a relationship, it's a divorce. And then with that comes family and all that stuff. And I've talked about this in one of our previous episodes. So I'm not going to dwell too much into that. But with that, for the first time, I've realized, of course I was sad. Okay, you put the sad aside, you put the grief aside.
Yeah.
At one point, I thought I was over it. Not to say over it completely, you do think of certain memories and this and that you get back. But at one point, I thought, okay, I have done everything that I wanted to do. I've announced it to the world, because that was a very important step in my life. I have to announce it to the world because my relationship was so online, so public, all that stuff. And this, I've moved to a new place, blah, blah, blah. I've made steps into, going into the next. And I thought, and for a while, it was completely fine. I didn't cry about it every night again as I used to, all that stuff. I had like a good month or so when I felt like, what, I can function. I can go about, I can move on. I have my work to focus on. And then like a month down the road, then came another sort of wave of me just feeling like disabled. like every single time my thoughts go back to, that relationship that ended.
Yeah.
It could be, it's not just because, I missed the person or anything like that. To be honest, that was the least of it. The most of it was all the fact that, oh my God, this ended.
Yeah.
My life changed. I never expected to be in this position. I never expected I'll do this. I'll have to do this to my parents. I've always made my parents, by the traditions of in an Indian Asian lifestyle, I've always made them proud step by step. I graduate, you get all A's for SPM, then you graduate, then you get a job and you tell your parents, hey, I'm getting paid. You get you for example, buy a car and this and that. And then I got married. So I've always done the traditionally, the benchmarks that you set to make your parents proud. And then when I had to go back and say, I'm getting a divorce, I want to get a divorce. That's a huge thing that affects you and family and everything. Yeah. And I've had so much, even though I'm at peace with the decision on why I have to do it, I have so much guilt that I had to do it.
Yeah.
That I had so much guilt that I had to throw a lot of relationships into disarray. The dynamics of my family has changed. A lot of things has changed. The dynamics within my friends have changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still have amazing people around me, but I was like, shit, something I did messed up a lot of things, But so that sort of made me feel like shit again and again. And I was like, I thought I've already dealt with this. I've already spoken to my parents all I want to speak. I've already apologized to them as much as I want to, and all that stuff. We are in a good space, and I know they are at a good place as well, and all that. I go back every week. Everything is sorted, but these feelings still keep coming back. And that for the first time is when I experience it is not a problem for me to solve and then it is done and then move on.
Yeah.
There is a lot of, I don't know what you call it. There's a lot there that even though you think it's a problem, that as a problem, you've solved it and you've already put steps into moving forward into the next things. It is not over. It is still coming back to haunt me. It is still coming back. And I have sleepless nights sometimes. Not every night, but I have sleepless nights just thinking about the same thing. And it's the new thing for me. And I'm very frustrated sometimes because I'm like, I thought, yes, I knew this was something that affected me, but I thought I addressed it. I thought I've sorted this out. I thought I spoke to the people involved. It's like being guilty about doing this to my parents. I've apologized to them, multiple times. Even when they didn't ask for it. But why does it keep coming back? And that's when for the first time I realized this is not just me being sad or stressed or anxious about one issue. This is something major has happened in my life and that has thrown my life off course to a certain extent. As much as I'm bringing it back into my control, there's a lot of grief. There's a lot of stuff that is around there that it's not going to easily go away. But this was just one side of it. On another side, something that I've never really shared much about, and I don't want to share too much about, well, keep it very brief, is that work-wise, my business-wise, you know this personally as a friend, but work-wise, business-wise, it has not been the most greatest year for me in the last 1.5 years. For the first time, I experienced negative growth in my business and work. And for the first time, business and all that declined, and I was at a spot where at some points I was financially like I didn't know what to do. I had to let go some of my stuff. I think this has been up there in my social media and all that. I had to let go some of my stuff, and that those are personal connections you've had with people because of financial issues and this and that. And thank God to this day, obviously there's no issues with me eating and stuff like that. But business wise, there was a lot of financial issues as well. And this happened almost at the same time that the whole divorce thing happened.
Okay.
So the thing that I thought is that I can focus on my work. My relationship has sort of, something like this happened. Now I can focus on my work. Yeah. But work wise, it wasn't the greatest there. It wasn't as normal as it used to be. And suddenly I found myself in like nothing about that I know about my life is the same anymore. Yeah. I have two major pillars of my life.
That's really tough.
Relationship, and work.
Yeah.
Both of this has drastically changed, and I don't recognize it anymore. Yeah. My relationship status and all that, I don't recognize it anymore. My work life has been completely thrown into a different sort of thing that I'm still trying to now figure out what exactly is my thing. Yeah. And that shift in identity of what I do on a day-to-day is what I think has caused me, is why I think I am at this point depressed per se, is because I don't know what I am about anymore. Yeah.
Jeez.
I know it's heavy.
Well,
I know
no,
it took
wait,
a while
listen,
to
first
sort
of
of,
all, Give me your hand, man.
Yeah, touch my hand, man.
Yeah, no, hold my hand. Thanks for sharing, bro. There's a lot.
Thanks for sharing as well.
That's you're welcome. but for real though, okay. We're sharing our stories because maybe some of you guys can relate. Everyone has their own issues, right? It can be as different kind of scales to it.
Yeah.
And yours is huge as well. Like it's huge. It's huge. In your life, you feel like fuck, like everything's ending. Everything I've built up is just collapsing within that moment itself. And even for me, I felt like that too in terms of what I was doing and all that. And I've come to a point in my life, I also realized like I really believe in this, which is the law of attraction. Which is the energy you give out is one thing, but the energy you have within yourself itself. Yeah. If that makes sense. The change always starts from within you, and that's how I look at things now. And I always have before this as well, until I went through like my very dark black hole of a pit that I was in. Okay. And maybe you are in that pit right now as well. Right? Yeah. And having the right people around you is actually everything. That's true. 100%. Yeah, because the people who really care about you will be there for you. They will give you like a helping hand, a little bit here and there. But at the end of the day, you need to be willing to help yourself. Obviously. Before anyone else around you can actually really help you. Right? I think that's one.
It's like a hole, right? And then you're at the bottom of it. They can put in their hand and say here, but you have to get up and reach out for the hand.
Yes, correct. So the fact that you need to get up itself takes a lot of energy for a lot of people out there, right? That's one. Number two is your direction in life. And I believe we all actually have a very straight direction in whatever we want to do. Yeah. Things happen in between with kind of just takes you off course for a while. Yeah. But once you find yourself back, eventually you will get back into the direction to go to where you're supposed to anyways. Yeah. Okay. The unfortunate part is a lot of people, when they kind of go off course, they never come back in. They kind of go very far. They start drifting out, right? Yeah. And people start like resulting towards alcohol, drugs. For guys could be women, or for women could be guys. Any form of addiction that they can find and they stick to it. And that's when it becomes like a very downward spiral and they never come out of it, right? Yeah. So right now, first of all, I need to let you know this. As a friend and as a brother, I'm here for you.
Same here, man.
Yeah, thank you. You have been there, okay? Yeah. You, Joshua, my other close friends, my parents and all that, which has been absolutely amazing. Yeah. So you guys out there, please, first things first, whoever's around you, understand this. People might look okay on the outside. Yeah. Especially if we're on social media and all that. People always assume you're fine. Truth be told, most of the time maybe we are. Yeah.
And I call a point. I am okay. It's not like I'm, sitting in my house crying every day. Correct. For the most part, I am okay. Yes. But
there are moments.
Know I am not like I used to be. Yeah. You know what I mean? Motivation, to get motivation, do something. What used to be this hard, now it's this hard.
Yes,
correct. When I get demotivated, usually I'm like, back the next day. Now it takes me an entire week to get back into it. Correct. Simple tasks feel much harder to do. So those are the things that makes me realize it's depression. It's because if I'm sad and I'm grieving, I had that stage and I'm done with that stage. And that's amazing. I know I'm just grieving right now.
That's amazing, actually.
Correct. Yeah. This is the part where you now try to love life back again. You now try to give yourself that fire again, and it doesn't come as easy. And continue.
I forgot what my point was.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
The comments are going to bash you for that again.
Correct. No, because I wanted to clarify that as much as that story was deep and dark, it is not. I'm not like sitting and crying every day.
Understand.
It could come off that.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this then. Okay, so right now, basically, it sounds like this was your biggest or your lowest moment in your entire life was basically happened
in the last 1.5 years.
Last 1.5 years, yeah?
Yep.
So, since your lowest point and to where you are right now, do you feel you've made any form of progress?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, that's amazing.
Definitely. Yeah. That's why I said that used to be like the grieving used to be is that lowest point. When shit happens and you're grieving, you're not functioning at all. I'm definitely not there.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear.
And like you said, one of the reasons has been, I think you know how much you have also been part of the reason as well. Because unfortunately, both of us were somewhat in the same boat around the same time. Yeah. When it came to the
timing, it's a Virgo thing.
Correct. and obviously you, but also all of my other friends as well, and my family as well. Like the amount of things that happened, they were also very, very sad.
Of course.
But at the same time, they found the energy to also be there for me. Yeah. Knowing that I'm having it obviously worse than them. But they are also going through shit because of this, because it involves family as well. So I have to genuinely thank, I'm very, very grateful that I have my family as well, and my friends, of course. But as my family as well to sort of fall back on. you know, at like your worst sort of thing.
Yeah, I want to ask you this next question. I think this is something a lot of people can relate. I think those who are normally feeling this, whatever I'm about to bring up right now. Have you ever been in a position, because you said like you see your family is there for you, your friends are there for you and all that, right? Have you been in a room where the people you love most are there for you, but you still feel so alone?
I know that feeling. I used to have that last time for other reasons, not the topic we're talking about. But as of now, not really, because I think I have been very because the room that you talk about, for me it's very very small number of people, and because it's a small number of people, most of those people know to the depths of how I feel. If it's someone that I cannot share in my true deepest feelings, I usually don't keep them in that room.
Okay.
And therefore, the people in that room is usually people who I feel like all this. I genuinely feel these people are around me. I don't feel lonely per se. Okay. But what I have done also is that throughout, because when I realized that I realized I'm depressed and all that, throughout this journey, there has been a lot of moments when. So we are talking about a metaphorical room, but there's been a lot of moments when physically in real life, I've just wanted to be alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
That's one of the reasons why I live alone now.
Yeah.
When the whole thing happened, I could have gone back and lived with my parents, but I realized that I need some time alone.
You need that
to
space.
go through this journey.
Yes.
I need moments when I don't have people around me.
Yes.
It could be the best of friends. It could be my family who was the greatest. I need so at any moment that I felt alone, it was because I chose to be, because I wanted to go through that moment by myself. But But what about you? Have you felt that?
Yeah, like all the time last time. All the time actually.
Okay.
To a point after that, for me personally, I'm very well aware of like my strengths and my weaknesses, if that makes sense. I'm an overthinker. I overthink a lot. I get anxious very easily as well. Like I said, my emotions are pretty big, so when I'm happy, I'm extremely happy. When I'm sad, I'm extremely sad.
Yeah.
When I'm angry, I could be angry. I'm not too sure. I try to be quite a chill guy, And
I've seen you angry.
Very rarely. My patience level is extremely high.
Or you control it well. You don't show it.
Yeah, I just show it in the gym because if I'm angry, I bench 40 kilos just to let you know. Just to let but no.
Man flexing is PR.
I'm just kidding. But I'm very well aware of that. And whenever I'm down, I tell myself it's okay. I'll be just down for a while. It's fine. I'll just do what I need to do to actually just help myself to improve. And what I mean by that is I know what I need to do at this point.
Yeah.
If I am sad, I will just basically listen to my music.
Okay.
I'll hit the gym. I will start doing some things that I watch on YouTube. Okay. And I watch a lot of financial stuff. A lot of what do you call that, spiritual stuff, not specifically spiritual like spiritual, but more of understanding why people do this, what's life about and stuff like that, understanding your purpose and all. My strengths is more of if I'm feeling good, this is the day where I tackle down my goals times 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I make use of that energy I have as well. But I've come to a point where I have a lot of self-control now.
Okay.
I used to have a lot of guilty pleasures, for example, alcohol was one. Watching porn is another. That's a whole different topic. Porn addiction is something I would really want to talk about.
Because it gives you that dopamine
that dopamine feeling, that euphoric feeling and all this things. Right? It's all just a very quick fix.
Correct.
Right? So all these quick fixes and all that. But I've come to a point I have a lot of self-control now. I've taken control of my thoughts. That's why I always tell people this. I've been responding to a lot of DMs. A lot of people nowadays, I notice, specifically after COVID, they've been really sad. That's one. Of course, financial issues is one of the biggest things.
Yeah, financial issues.
Yeah, financial issues is huge, specifically this year.
Yeah.
Interest rates going up, inflation going up, all these things.
Yeah.
That's one. Another thing is also because we all as human beings, and I notice this, as you get older, your mind and your thoughts are so much more complex. Okay, it's so much more complex. You look at it like this. I had a conversation with a doctor once before, my friend Sharma. He said this. When you're a child, and when you're in a clinic, for example, when you're about to get an injection, you will cry. Instantly because you're scared, right? But then how you make the child stop crying immediately after, you just give him a sweet, a lollipop, he's okay or she's okay, right? Because their thoughts they don't go so complex. It's either happy or sad. There's no in between. That's why I'm not going to say no kids are depressed, no. But I'm just saying it's not as complex. As you get older, your thought process gets so much more complex. You start overthinking about this, that. You start going branches, sub-branches and stuff like that, right?
Yes, but no.
Yeah, but then if this, then that. If how, then why, then this, right? So you start having all these things. So that's when I realized, okay, I'm that kind of person.
Okay.
So I rather use that force that I have into the good that I can do. When it starts going spiral and it gets bad, that's when I have that self-control. Okay, hey, calm down, tone down, listen to your music a bit. go and have your good food if you need to, relax a bit, chill out a bit, and then after that, you get yourself back up. And that's what I do right now, honestly speaking. And that has helped me tremendously, actually. You know, and that's why I always tell people this one thing, like I was saying just now, I reply my DMs, and a lot of people are sad. I always say the same thing to most people, which is, you can't really control what's happening around you.
Correct.
You know, your surrounding, which is what I said, external, right? You cannot control it. Let's just say even if you're in a relationship and someone leaves you, as unfortunate as it is, you cannot control it. You cannot force that person to love you. Whatever that person's reason is to leave you, they've made their choice. If they leave, they leave. You want to be sad about it, you can. But one thing you can control is how you respond to it. Right? So that is internal. The way you respond, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. Of course, it's easier said than done. But when you come to a point where you're very well aware of just how you function as a human being, you can take control of that particular situation already. And the way you respond to that after that will literally put you in a position whether you're going to do really good or you're going to go down through a very bad downward spiral, you know. That's the whole alcohol thing I had. Because I could have controlled it, but I chose not to. I chose to fuck it up and just, you know, just...
Correct. And I think what it is also is that as you get more mature and as you learn life a little bit more, and as you maybe go through more shit, like for example, you, I think based on your story, you have gone through what you think is depression.
I wouldn't say it's depression. I would never say
we will
it.
term it like that, right? For the sake of the topic, for the sake of the conversation. Is there a way you would describe it?
I would say it was just an extreme infinite loop of sadness. The only reason why I say depression, I had this one friend, it's a client actually. He was a doctor. And he was the first person I actually opened up to, you know. The first person. This was in 2020, right before COVID lockdown. He told me, okay, I'm going to ask you some questions that we actually learned in medical school. And he asked me some questions. He brought the book. He asked me some psychiatric questions. And he said, okay, based on your response to the few things I asked you, you have mild depression. That's what he told me. I was never clinically diagnosed. He was still a medical student anyways, you know. But to me personally, I never considered myself as depressed. I always just considered myself as extremely sad and just lots of like strong waves of very strong emotions. It hits you hard. You know what I mean?
I also think sometimes it's the lack of emotions sometimes can also be something. I would say, I don't know whether that's termed under depression, but for me, I feel like when I was extremely sad, I somehow was okay. Because in my mind, I was like, okay, right now, this just happened. You are sad. You are grieving and do it. It's okay. You don't have to do all the other stuff. It's okay. Be sad. Cry. Do all the things you need to do. Sulk. Sit in the house and do nothing. Fine. But when that stage is over and then you get to a stage where you are okay. You're not crying. You're not grieving. But then you come to a point of, but I'm not really genuinely happy as well. It's not content. Something at the back of my mind is still... That feeling is the feeling that throws me off a lot. And that's when I realized, okay, this is not sadness anymore. This is something else. And that's when I realized, okay, maybe, again, people who are experts here can probably come in and help us sort of, you know, not to say diagnosis, because that's your job that you have to do professionally. But, you know, maybe they could sort of shed a clear light. But one of the things, I mean, sort of going back to one of my earlier points is that when you say, right, it's how you choose to respond to it. Right?
100%.
The idea is not to realize, okay, this is happening. The idea is not to figure out how do I make myself happy. No. The idea is to realize that, okay, this is what's happening and this is how I am feeling. And it is justified for me to feel this way. And so I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I am feeling this way because of this. Now, a lot of times, some people feel like, one of the reasons a lot of people are so distinct is because they don't know why they feel a certain way. But if you tune into yourself well enough, if you pay attention to yourself well enough, you can always go back to that root cause or the root causes of why you feel certain ways.
Correct.
Sometimes it requires a level of extreme honesty with yourself. Sometimes it requires a level of extreme honesty with yourself. When and I'll be very blunt with this, sometimes these days I still feel, you know, let's say I get moments where I feel very extremely sad, or I feel like that depressed feeling in quotation marks, as we don't want to professionally term it, about, let's say, the relationship that ended. I think to myself, okay, it ended mutually, as I've obviously said. And at that time, I was at peace with that decision. So why is it suddenly bothering me again so much now? And then as I keep going through it, I had to break that level, that gate that I had, which took extreme honesty from me to myself to open that gate up and then go in further and realize that there was this moments, like a year or two before the whole divorce thing even happened, where I did this that made my partner feel this, that I did that made my partner feel that, that I could have done this, but I didn't, and that made my partner feel that.
It sounds like you're mentally abusing yourself. Like you're self-blaming.
Yeah. But I see that as a necessary process because I'm not blaming myself, but because I was so stressing out about why do I feel this way. I feel this was some decision I made with peace, and I know to this day it was the right decision. But why do I still feel like shit? So I had to give myself that honesty and say, maybe because, go back even further. There are certain things that you did wrong, that you should have done, you should have been better. I can forgive myself for it. In a sense, I mean, I had to identify all this in order to then start forgiving myself for it. Only when I sort of individually start looking back at each of it, I can be like, now this is why I feel like this. Now, I know how I need to start. I'd feel better about this. I need to slowly forgive myself for each of this. If in any of this, I feel like I owe my ex-partner an apology, then I grab my phone and then go and text them an apology. And I'm saying this as an example, not to say about it. I'm saying as an example. Sometimes we hide our thing behind a veil of, because you don't want to go back and blame yourself for things because you think you'll feel worse. You sometimes just put a gate and just hide it, and then now you feel like shit, but you don't know why. Because you're hiding behind that gate. So sometimes you need extreme honesty with yourself to open that gate.
100%.
It's okay to be critical of yourself if you're very clear that the idea is to fix yourself again. My idea is that I'll figure out where I went wrong, not because of anything else, but because I need to start forgiving myself for everything. I did do mistakes in my past, whether knowingly or not knowingly. I need to start forgiving myself for it if I want to eventually get better.
100%. Even for myself, as I've made mistakes in the past, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, stuff like that. Small things here and there, you know what I mean? But it's more of like I said, because I would blame myself, I had to accept it, acknowledge it, and start forgiving myself.
Correct.
And if there's another person involved, of course, you have your apology towards that person as well. But that self-forgiveness is everything, because a lot of people tend to abuse themselves, blame themselves. I'm not good enough, blah, 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 and stuff like that, you see. And this happens a lot with other people out there as well. Like, you see, like our problems right now, or maybe in your case, it's because of the relationship, the divorce and all that, right? Mine is more of like, it was never really relationship-based. It was more of like internal in my head, correct. And this, right? And other people have issues such as money is an issue, for example, and that's a huge issue. For some people, it could be they have all the money in the world, but somehow they just don't get the love that they want from their partner or from their family or from their parents, for example. That's a very common thing as well. And for me personally, that's when I realized, I started just being grateful for the little things. For example, like I've just got 2 hands and 2 legs, and I've got 2 eyes that I can see, because some people don't have that as well, right? True. I have food on the table. I'm very grateful for that as well. I have a roof on my head. I'm very grateful for that. These are the moments where I actually remind myself about things like this when I am at my lowest, or when I start feeling like really sad again, And at the same time, I'm not just saying just be grateful. No, you can always aim for more, bigger things, strive high, do what you got to do as well at the same time. But counting your blessings, I think, personally, can go a very long way. Right?
It is not to say just because you have all this great stuff, so you shouldn't be sad. It's more like when your head is full of what is going wrong, it is nice to sort of redirect it to what is going right. Let's look at what's going right, and let's try to extract some happiness and satisfaction out of it.
Is you just redirecting your thoughts, because the more negative your thoughts get, the more negative whatever you're exactly,
you get into that loop.
And I told this to someone recently. I sent a DM as well out to someone. Someone asked me like, bro, how do you stay so positive? I'm a very optimistic person. That's just how I am. But I told him this one thing. You try this out and see. When you wake up in the morning, wake up with positive thoughts. So what I mean by that, the moment you wake up, a lot of people will be like, shit, I have to go to work. The first thing in your head itself is negative. Your whole day is affected already.
Correct.
The moment you wake up, it's like, oh, fuck, it's another day. I'm grateful to be alive. Time for me to go kill my shit and do what I got to do. Your whole thought process will change. And then whatever you do throughout the day, that energy will follow with you, if that makes sense, you see.
True.
It's the small things like that has helped me a lot, actually. Long way.
And sometimes it's hard to just say, okay, I'm just gonna switch, be great, be extremely excited. Sometimes it's, I find I do this, might work for some people, might not work for some people. I wake up and sometimes I feel like, oh, okay, I got this and this and that, blah, blah, blah. The first thing that I think about is, okay, obviously I don't want to think about all the things that make me feel like, oh shit. I try to think of what is that one thing that makes me feel excited as hell. It could be the most smallest thing. It could literally be, there's a because I'm a Man United fan, there's a Man United match later tonight. Okay, no matter what, I'm looking forward to that. So I try to put that. I know you want to make fun of me. You're a Chelsea fan, so you better shut up.
I was gonna say it's been a tough past decade for you, but
So that's an example that I haven't been able to use very often.
Because they went to Africa Cup final now, they can use already.
But sometimes genuinely these days it's. Sometimes I have because I just mentioned business and financially there's a lot of stress, and sometimes I wake up with like, oh, this bill is due, that bill is due, things that you go through as a business person and all that. But sometimes like, you know what, I'll check the notification later, but for now I'm just excited because I'm excited for my breakfast. Because I genuinely enjoy my current breakfast based on the diet, which is like in the mornings I have like a tea and eggs, and it's not just the food, it's the entire experience, because I do that and I sit down here and I watch TV and at that moment usually sometimes you message me, are you coming to gym? I don't even reply to you.
You fucking bitch, now I know the truth.
Sometimes I reply, but sometimes I just want that peaceful like 15 minutes or 20 minutes where I'm just watching something on TV.
I get it.
And what I do is, what is my day about? What do I want to be excited about? And I just put something on TV and it's very insignificant. It's just a 15-minute breakfast that I sit down and I watch something that I'll probably forget about later that day. But because that keeps me excited, I just think about that first. And I start my day with that first. And doing all that gives a tiny sense of happiness, a bit of a, like your dopamines and whatever hormones that gives you a bit of happiness. And, when you relax and do that. So I start my day off with something that I absolutely enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And then I go ahead and do whatever else that I have to do that maybe I dreaded throughout the rest of the day or whatever, stuff like that.
That's a very good way to look at it as well. You see?
So sometimes when people are like, I have to get up and go study and go to school or college or go to work. Try to take an extra 30 minutes before that and start the day with something that you absolutely enjoy doing.
And that one really varies with everyone. That's why some people say wake up, do meditation, for example. Some people say wake up, go for a jog, for example. Like for me, it's just waking up with a positive thought, for example. So it really varies with everyone. You got to find your groove, basically. That's when your self-awareness kicks in. You know your thing. For you, you're very well aware. Fuck, you get your eggs and your tea in. You don't reply my text. You're already good to go.
That's the best. That's a perfect start to the day.
Right.
Eggs and tea and ignore Kirtan.
Exactly, right? Which is absolutely insane. But there's some good stuff actually.
Correct. Yeah, we talk. That is obviously about waking up with a thing, but that doesn't obviously solve depression and whatever.
It doesn't. But it's the smallest of things, and it really varies for everyone. Like I said, because we are no experts. We're just sharing our stories. What has helped us?
Correct.
And the stories go a lot more detail, but we have a time limit in the video.
At the end of the day, see, obviously, we are not here sitting down trying to explain how to get over stuff, because we will never claim we know how to. We talk about our stories and how we've been coping with it. What you can take from it, maybe you can take from it.
By the way, I'm not crying. Okay, I have like sty eye. Sty eye. It's like that. Yeah. I don't know what. Yeah. But
anybody knows that song? Put it in the comments. Okay. Shall we go to IG questions?
I was gonna say one more thing.
What's that one more thing?
The sty eye. Because you started singing, I got fucked in the head. But jeez. Oh, I remembered actually. It has something to do with food.
Okay.
How many minutes are we in?
We are 55 minutes in.
55? Okay, I'm not going to talk about food.
Why?
Let's go
into
food. I don't think you like this part of the food that I'm going to talk about. That's why. But yeah, okay. Let's go into the IG questions.
All right. Okay. So clearly we're not going to keep this episode under an hour.
No, we're not. Okay, now I remember what I wanted to say.
What?
Okay, it was not actually about food.
Then?
Sorry, my bad. The food was the next thought actually. Okay. What I wanted to say is basically we are not looking for sympathy here.
Yeah, definitely not.
Please. We are not looking for sympathy, okay? You can see a smile on my face, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but no, we're just sharing our stories, okay? Because there was one person on IG, one person said stop playing victim.
Okay.
So, and I post like some sad shit every here and then.
Right.
And I post like, for example, like, it's not even sad shit actually. Like, for example, recently I posted like to all those who are struggling out there, surviving, fighting your demons. Like, keep doing you.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Someone just said, stop playing victim. I was like, what? Like, how do you sit there and judge? You don't even know me. You don't even know my life. You don't know the things I've gone through.
Yeah.
And you see based on one story, stop playing victim.
You know why people
So I'm not looking for sympathy. I know people go through struggles like that. I've been in that struggle. I've had breakdowns. I've had mental breakdowns. I've sat in the car. I've cried. You've cried. You sleepless nights. All of these things. And I know I can't be the only one.
Yeah.
He knows he's not the only one. Tanesh knows as well. So there's probably thousands or millions of y'all out there just like us as well, right?
Yeah.
So when I put that out there, it's in the hope of like, hey, you're not alone. Hold my hand. We'll go through this shit together.
Yeah.
All right. And
correct. Because the thing
lots
is,
of love.
everybody is very conditioned most of the time to show strength on social media, to show the happy stuff on social media.
Yeah.
Of course, except for Twitter being an exception where everybody is just tweeting depressive shit.
Yeah.
But most of the time that's for humor.
Yeah.
We are brought up to show that. And then as you grow up, you all realize that life is not just that.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and then we are like, okay, but it's not just me. You're going through the same shit as well.
Exactly.
And sometimes some people could genuinely be at a spot where they think, how the hell am I going to come out of this? If they ever at all see someone else going through something similar or something in a, whatever, and they see that if that person can eventually be okay, I can be eventually okay also. Right on the day that you told me about your breakup, the recent one, we were having that conversation and I was shocked and surprised and all that. And I was very I obviously as a friend I sympathized you, but you told me within that conversation, I'm fucked up right now, but I know I'll be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because obviously a lot of people have gone through that. But imagine if you think you're the only person who've ever gone through shit like that.
Exactly.
You're gonna think, what the hell?
You feel like no one understands
you feel
me.
like you'll never come
I'm
out of
alone.
it.
You'll
Yeah.
never come out of it. And I always said, I know I'll be okay. That's why I said the whole depression story. I know I'll be okay.
From the day one, you've said, I know I'll be okay. And I've told you so. I know I'll be okay. How long it takes,
I don't know.
and that process we don't know.
Yes,
but we know
yes.
we'll be okay. And that's the point. That's the point.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll go to IG questions.
Let's go to IG questions.
There's a lot of people who say, these two guys who should clearly go for therapy, but instead doing podcasts.
Yeah. This is our therapy. This is our therapy.
Or maybe we'll do both.
Yeah,
we start with podcasts first, try to earn some money from here or something if we can, which we don't. And then take that money and then go to therapy or something like that. I don't know, man. But why does it have to be, Okay, IG questions. You want to do first? What's your IG question for this episode?
For this episode, my IG question was basically like, are you going through depression?
Tell us a bit of a story.
Tell us a bit of a story. Like, what do you think is the cause?
Yes, you guys heard our story. Let's hear some of your stories.
Okay, let's start. Okay, because I have quite a lot, guys, and a lot of y'all shared some really interesting things. And because we did it through the NGL link, and I'm so glad we did it. You know why? A lot of people were able to express themselves
without being afraid.
Of like they'll be judged and stuff like that, and they could just let it all out.
Yeah, nice.
Just let it out. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys probably felt a lot better after you let it out. I hope you did, because I would have actually.
Correct.
When I read it, I actually felt a bit overwhelmed. I won't lie, because like fuck, a lot of people go through stuff, and I'm so glad we're doing this right now, this topic as well. So first thing,
let's do it.
Work burnout. I work 80 hours a week. 80 hours a week. And it's never enough. My manager still thinks I'm not up to par, and my friends/family thinks I'm having the time of my life because I'm always out and about traveling and exploring new things. People need to understand what they see in social media is just like 5%, second part. And sometimes we are all fighting our own struggles. It is okay if you don't acknowledge it, but don't demotivate someone when they say they are not feeling good by invalidating their emotions based on your views. This is a good example. He works his ass off, but he takes his time off in a sense where like, okay, he works. I don't know. It's a he or she. Okay, it's a he or she works their asses off. Friends and family thinks they're having a good time just because they decide to go some traveling and all this because they post that part of their life in social media, right? On their Instagrams or TikToks or whatever. So what he's saying is like, just don't judge so quick. Just because I put that stuff on social media doesn't mean I'm actually really happy. I'm struggling at work. 80 hours a week. You don't know the effort that goes in it.
Even if you work 7 days a week, which is crazy in the first place, that's like 11 hours per day.
Yes.
For 7 days non-stop?
Yes, that's insane.
If it's 6, I just did my math. If it's 6 days, that's 13 hours. That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's why exactly we were telling them just now as well, right? Like, don't believe everything you see on Instagram or social medias and all. Yeah, you can believe it, but that's maybe only the stuff we want to show you. Like, this guy's a good example.
And work burnout is something that is usually very
it's underrated, bro.
It's underrated. and underestimated as to how tough it can be for someone.
Yeah.
Because they think like, work burnout. At the end of the day, you get paid, right? Yeah. end of the day, you get paid. Yes, okay, that's for you to survive, to live. Now, working is what you do. In this fella's case, what 90% of his time?
Yeah.
Aside, if you put aside the sleeping time.
Yeah.
If you're not enjoying what you're doing 90% of your time, no matter how much you get paid.
Imagine how tough it is.
Yeah,
right?
it is not gonna be,
Jeez.
So all the love to you.
Kudos to you, bruv.
And all girl.
Yeah.
You know what, bruv
I'll
is
just
a
keep bruv as
non-sexual
like
term.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, next one. Okay, I got every aspect of this. That's why I chose specific this one. Okay.
All right.
Next one's body shaming.
Okay.
Okay, little background. I'm a F. I'm assuming F is female. Mid-20s. Used to be a fat kid, but kind of got into shape in my late teens and early 20s.
Okay.
High metabolism, perhaps. But funny thing, I was always seen as a big person, and honestly, I got tired of being body shamed even when I was in shape.
Okay.
Right? Second part. So I did start feeling not being enlightened for the eyes of people. Then when COVID came, I had easily put up 20 kilos. Honestly, I did not want to lose it, and I always keep myself active. But it has been hard to lose weight, and the amount of body shaming from family, oh boy. Once I wore sleeveless tank top, not even crop top, in bracket, and the amount of comments thrown, I just wish my own family members throw comments towards me. Fun fact, the body shaming in my life only occurs from family members. I wanted to bring this up because this is a very common thing, specifically in the brown community.
Yeah.
I've heard this a lot. I'm not sure about like the other Asians and all that, but with the brown community, family members tend to just throw their own family members down, like beat them down just for their size, shape, whatever it is, right? Yeah, obviously maybe, being bigger in size and all that, maybe they are throwing words in a sense where like, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Which is fair, okay? But the words you use, the way you do it, you can either really belittle someone or you can encourage someone with the way you say things.
Correct.
And this case scenario, when you belittle someone so much to a point when it comes to you from your family members, people closest to you, it will affect you a lot.
A lot. A lot of people, they think because we are family, they think, right? Obviously, I love you. That goes unsaid. Goes without saying. So then whatever I say, they think they can be harsher towards someone because they are family. If it is a stranger who is not their family, they will not be that harsh to them. But they think they can be harsher to that person because they are family.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to things like your body and all that, you have to realize this person lives with it 24/7.
Exactly.
That's you. That's you. Your body. You can't escape from it. You know what I mean? And there's a very nice way you go about it. There's a very careful way you go about it. Because when the people that, like you said, when the people that matters the most to you treat you like that or say those words to you, it hits you so much hard. And people might think, I'm only doing this. I'm trying to get it to a point where, so that they will get it, they'll get angry and they'll do something about it. Yeah, you can, but do you follow it up with love? At some point you can say, hey, listen, you are messing up. Okay, like let's say if it's a weight thing, you've put on so much weight, this is unhealthy, you have to, okay, you have the rights as a family member to do it, but follow it up after that with love and this and that. Someone who feels like this is probably not getting that love.
Don't belittle someone.
Correct.
Two advice I give. One is to the people who does this, like when they say stuff like this, right? Just put it in very proper words. The way you phrase something is everything. That's one. And the person who's actually going through this as well, even if it's your family members or people outside, people will always talk. You cannot please everyone. So when people say things that is very negative or very negatively impactful towards your life, always treat it as noise. Just treat it as noise. You do you. It's your story, your life, your struggles. Only you know what you go through. Do what you got to do to just be the best version of yourself. The rest is all noise. And look at it like that.
And find people who treat you the way you're supposed to be treated. It doesn't have to be family sometimes. You can seek the right people through friends and stuff like that who will make you feel good about yourself. And the funny thing is, people like this, right? Sometimes, let's say, okay, they have some body issues, let's say weight gain, this or that. If they get this kind of body shame, eventually they could get to a point of whatever body that they feel is okay, the others feel is okay, but they will still have a lot of trauma and issue regarding their body because they are just conditioned that way growing up as they were body shamed. So it's a very fucked up thing to do. If your family, you try to be better.
Just do you. Your story matters. Just remember that. Okay. All right, next one. Yes, I started getting depression after my SPM because I got diagnosed of health issue, got to do with skin.
Okay.
This made me overthink of everything, make me lose all my confidence in myself. Now I've made the first step overcoming the issue by going to the gym. Thank you, bro, for inspiring me. Oh, that's nice.
Hey.
That's nice. But why I picked this one is also because the key word here is confidence. You know, he had a skin issue is one thing, but he lost his confidence because of his skin issue.
Yeah.
Right. But he did something about it.
Okay.
He did something about it. He started having the confidence again. You know, and that's what I loved about this one. So I wanted to mention it. Because I know some people go through, could be anything. Some people have like eczema, for example. I know some people get really insecure about stuff like this. Or pimples, acne. I've been getting a lot of DMs about, bro, what do you do for your skin? I don't know why. It's a bit weird. Guys, my skin is not good actually, to be honest with you, you know.
Yeah, it looks like shit. No,
looks like
kidding.
shit. No. Okay.
It looks fine.
But I see a lot of people are normally very insecure about things like that. And it's fine because it's your appearance, right? But treat yourself well in a sense where take care of yourself, eat well, sleep well, drink lots of water, things like this. Eventually, you will start to feel that self-confidence just grow on you as well. Yeah. And then you'll be much better from there.
And I think one thing is that, like I said, he did something about it.
He did something about it. Love it.
The doing something is never going to cure your depression, but taking an action, any kind of action is always going to be the first step. Because if you don't do anything at all, you're very likely to never really come out of it, or it take a very extremely long time to come out of it. Yes. One of the reasons we started this podcast, I don't know about your motivation behind it, but my motivation, because at that time I was not doing any content at all. And content is my thing, is my life. And if I go a long time without making content, I actually do feel very depressed, because I'd be like, what am I doing? I'm supposed to make content. That's my thing. And that's what I want to do. But somehow I'm not making anything. I'm not motivated to do anything. And so I wanted to do something that will just kickstart me into content creation. And I started this podcast, and that's when you said, hey, I'm interested in doing this also, so let's do it. And it has genuinely helped me a lot. It has kickstarted me back into the creation process, and that goes a long way in making myself feel like I'm taking control back in my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I love that.
Take action, do something. Yeah.
Okay, next one. I'm literally crying every day for this. I just finished my SPM. Me thinking of life after SPM, this kind of depressing. Number 1, need to stop being dependent. Number 2, need to go into a different phase of life. Number 3, scared to be an adult. Number 4, pressure to choose the correct path. Maybe this is very normal, but ain't for, then he didn't finish it. I'm saying, but ain't for me, probably.
Okay. Can you read the number 1, 2, 3, 4 again?
Need to stop being dependent.
Okay.
I think we all go through this.
Yeah.
Need to go into a different phase of life. Yeah. We all go through it. Scared to be an adult. We all go through it. Pressure to choose the correct path. We all go through it. And this sounds exactly like, what I told you after my uni and I got released. Yeah. So I could relate to it very well when he said this. And after SPM, a lot of people go through this because they're not too sure like what to do, what to choose.
I think a lot of what that is anxiety.
A lot of anxiety, very anxious. And because I've seen people who, honestly speaking, they get very pressured up because of parents will be like, no, you do this, but then they want to do something else. And all these things, you know what I mean? Yeah. So many factors involving. Bro, I'll just tell you one piece of advice. Sis, right? Bro or sis, I don't know. I'll keep using the word bro. Okay, bro or sis, okay, one piece of advice. Don't stress it too much. Don't overthink it. Your life is just about to begin. Literally, you know? And whatever you go through after this, it's a learning curve. Win or lose, you're still going to win regardless if you choose to learn from whatever you're going to go through. All right? In terms of you don't want to be so dependent, don't worry. You will come to that point where you will start making your own money. You will find a way. Because if you have the will, you will always find a way. So don't worry too much about it. All right? So don't cry every day. All right? Trust me. Just watch the podcast. No, but for real, jokes aside, okay? Trust me, your life is just about to begin. Right. So don't overthink it. Don't overstress it.
Here's my very specific idea to you. Everything Kirtan said, that's true, obviously. Here's a very specific idea on what exactly you can do in this position. A lot of stress here comes also from the fact that maybe they don't know what to study and all that stuff. And because it comes from what you study, would you excel at it? If you excel at it, would you be good at that job? And then would you make good money? And that's how you become self-dependent and all that, being an adult. Maybe you don't know exactly what you want to do, and then this causes all the stress. If you can, convince your parents and just go for a part-time job. It's okay if you don't immediately start studying. I think there's a lot of stress there usually. It's okay if you don't immediately start studying. Do a part-time job, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. It's okay. Because in that time, you will experience life. You'll earn some money. Maybe not enough, but you'll earn some money. Part-time job or full-time job technically could be a full-time job. But, you'll do all these things. And as you do it, you will hear your friends are doing this and that. You'll do these activities, that or that. Eventually, you'll get some exposure to it. Something will interest you. And you'll naturally find yourself going towards that direction. And then you can be like, okay, if I like this part, can I study something within this? Because obviously Indian parents, I'm assuming, would say you have to study no matter what. Okay, I am inclined to go, because when you're in school, you're so controlled in that environment. When you go into a working world per se, even like a part-time job, you start to be exposed to a lot of things. Your friends are doing so many different things at this point. You know, you're getting a lot of new friends. You will go towards a certain path, and in that path, maybe then you can figure out the rest of your life, and everything else will sort of fall into picture. That's more of a specific advice that I can give. Yeah, moving forward.
Just relax, trust me.
Yeah.
Just relax. The more you overthink it, the more cloudy your mind
Take
is.
it one simple step at a time. What do you have to do tomorrow? What do you have to do next week?
Trust me.
Yeah.
Your life is just about to begin.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Suffering depression cause of marriage separate.
Married
Separation
and then got separated.
Yeah. Struggling and dying. The pain going through difficult time. Couldn't express it how it feels. I have attempted suicide 16 times, but it fails. Hoping everything goes well. That impact hit me so bad and real. So why I wanted to share this is because, first of all, we hear you. I'm not sure if it's a guy or girl, obviously.
Yeah.
But what really hit me hard is because, number one is a separation. It's tough. Number two is couldn't express how it feels, you know. When you struggle to really express, you start bottling everything inside you, right? And you really struggle to really express it. And when you really struggle to express it, you start beating yourself up for it. And hence, I have attempted suicide 16 times, but it failed. So I am no one to give advice on this one. All I can just say is all bad things will come to an end in life. All right. Whatever you're going through is not fair. Okay. And it's not easy, of course, but try to talk to someone. Seek for help if you need to. If you have people who are close to you, friends or family, talk to someone. The moment you start just talking a little bit or just expressing it, you will feel like the weight of your shoulders is lifted up a little bit. And you feel much better as well.
Whoever you are, I'm sure when you wrote this message down, it did something. It helped you a little bit.
I hope it did, you know.
And when you watch this and you hear us talking about it, you would feel an extra ounce of, regardless of what we have to say regarding it, you'll feel an extra bit of a release, hopefully. And that's how it usually works. Do a lot of this with your friends, with your family. And let's say you're in a position where, for some reason, you can't speak to friends and family about it. Because I don't know what's your exact situation. But I like that idea of married and separated. I relate to it to a certain level, at least. You know, our stories could be completely different, but I could relate to it. So sometimes you can't speak to your family about it 100% because there's a lot of, there's a lot of baggage when it comes to family as well. Because divorce is something that affects families, you know. So because I find myself sometimes not being able to talk to my parents 100% about everything that I feel regarding the whole thing. That's when you can go for help. What we'll try to do, we'll try to find those hotlines and numbers that you call when you're going through things like this. And we put in the descriptions of the video. If we haven't put it, if by the time you're watching this, you haven't seen it at the description, somebody who knows this information, please give it to us so that we can put it, or put it in the comment section. We'll pin it and stuff like that. Speak to these people. I know it sounds sometimes be like, oh, it's random strangers that I call and speak.
It really helps.
They are there for a reason.
It really helps. You know, when I said I opened up to my parents and all that was the first time I said anything to them like in this context. It really helped. So just give it a try.
Correct.
All right. And we hear you. Lots of love.
And if you can find a purpose. Right. Find a purpose and try going towards that purpose eventually.
Just find yourself. Discover yourself again. It's not the end of life. You've got so much more to actually give. Okay. Next one. Mental torture and emotional blackmails from my family on being queer. Queer.
Queer. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce it 100%.
Queer.
But okay, I know the word.
And not being manly. No support system and all the emotions are just bottled up.
Okay, it's interesting.
So not being manly, so I'm assuming this is a guy or is a dude. A lot of guys maybe go through this. A lot of because we know for a fact a lot of men go through mental health issues. Not saying girls don't, because the suicide rates also show that, right? And a lot of men, they are expected to do certain things,
be a certain way
and stuff like that. Don't open up about your emotions. Don't cry in front of other people and stuff like that. I'm
also assuming since he says he's queer, again, apologies for pronouncing it wrong. My understanding of queer is like you are somewhere in that spectrum of, LGBT and all that stuff. But this is my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's too late for me to Google right now. But you're trying to still figure it out. You know that you're not 100% straight. I think you're... Or, again, correct me if I'm wrong. Please, I could genuinely be wrong here. And so that it doesn't go against, traditional beliefs of how a man should be. Or maybe he's straight, but maybe just, is a bit more feminine in his the way he sort of is as a person. And I've understand that I've seen people like that. Not a lot, but I've seen people like that. Back when I was not so aware of this kind of things. Back when I was a kid and I was not so aware of this. And I've seen how they are usually ridiculed.
Yeah.
Or
mistreated.
scolded or mistreated and stuff like that. And it can be generally be messed up. Yeah. I have no personal, obviously I can't tell you how to get through this because I don't really 100% relate to it, but it still comes down to being able to find some. Did he say he doesn't have anybody to speak to?
No support system, and all the emotions are just bottled up.
I think what you can also do, go on the internet, maybe make an anonymous account somewhere and speak about your things, and that you will find those groups of people who are similar to you or who sympathize you or in that circle, and you read a lot of stories. You have your Reddits and your all this stuff. Find the type of people who are maybe more similar to you and maybe how they dealt with similar things, and try to then if you can't find your support system around you physically, that's why we have the internet these days. Yeah. So maybe try to tap into that. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. I am suffering from loneliness. I think I have everything I need. I have a really good job in London. Do this from London. That means,
London.
Okay. Lots of love
Thanks
to
for
London.
watching ChillNSpill from London.
Financially doing well. I feel like I have achieved a lot for my age, but I just can't be with people. I push away my family, friends, the guys who want to date me. Okay, that means this could be a girl.
Could be a girl.
I have no idea why I do this to myself.
Yeah.
So this is a very good example of someone who feels like they have it all. I have achieved a lot for my age. Financially I'm doing well. I'm in London right now. I've got my job.
Yeah.
But I just can't be with people. Like I push people away, and I have no idea why I do this to myself. So there are people like this out there as well. Like I was mentioning just now, everyone has their own form of struggles.
Yeah.
Truth be told, only you would know why you do this to yourself, like why you push people away. Maybe you don't know right now, but sit down, have that conversation yourself. I think that's very important. Have that conversation. Maybe you just vibe with certain kind of people, or maybe you've just not found your person, stuff like that. But I don't know exactly. I can't really give an advice on that one. Do you have any particular advice?
Again, so we are not very hell-bent on giving advice for everything, but obviously we've read it out. We hope that you feel like you have shared and people have listened. We have listened and people have listened. But moving past that on an advice sort of thing, like I said, see, this is something that even I could be dealing with in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who knows? So, but one thing I say is that maybe if there's anything, maybe you could really delve into what's that root cause that you say you push people away. There must be a reason for it.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, there must be...
Could be childhood trauma. Could be so much of things.
It might be hiding behind a layer that you do not want to break as you delve deeper into your life. So maybe be extremely, extremely honest with yourself and figure it out. It might be something that you think you could fix within yourself, or it might be something that you think, no, it's not something that you have to fix, but just something that you have to forgive from your past. Something that you have to move on from. A lot of people who go through terrible breakups and stuff like that eventually feel like, people who get cheated eventually feel like they can never trust somebody. And eventually for them to be happy, they have to eventually be able to trust somebody. And for that, they have to sort of go back and make peace with whatever they went through. So it could be any of that. We don't know, but we hope you feel listened to, and
we hear you.
Delve deep within you. I'm sure you'll find somebody.
Yes. We are the thing is, what we're doing here, we're not really here to give advice, okay? We are reading out your stories in the hopes that you're not alone, and other people out there could relate to it as well.
Correct.
But
we as men, we are just wired in a way that anytime there's a problem, we need to figure out a solution.
Yeah, that's just our logical way of thinking. That's just how
biologically how men think. So sometimes, if you're like, I'm sure there's a lot of girls watching this like, guys, come on, you don't have to come up with a solution for everything. Sorry lah, we're just wired that way. We can't help it. We're not trying to
give you like a solution, just giving our 2 cents.
We feel very useless if you don't.
Yeah, that's the thing. But we are reading out your stories.
Correct.
All of your stories matter.
Yeah.
I've handpicked a few, whatever I can.
Shitload. We're starting our podcast late today.
Let's go to the next one.
Correct. We're starting our podcast late today because Kirtan had so much trouble trying to narrow this down.
I had so many responses. It was insane. That's why I'm so glad we did this.
Right.
Because a lot of you guys managed to let out whatever you were feeling.
All right.
Next one. Toxic parents. No one is ready for this conversation. My life/past has been just too dark.
Okay.
I'm the eldest daughter, 27, and broke because my dad doesn't like going to work, and my mom always want to look rich in front of people. In bracket, we are actually a middle class family. I just need to move out.
Okay.
Toxic parents, no one is ready for this conversation. Truth be told, I am ready for it.
We are ready for it.
Okay, I have amazing parents. I absolutely love my parents, but I've seen people who has been in very toxic families. For example, parents are not the best. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, for me, it's very simple. If anything toxic, just cut them out, even if it's your parents. Because at one point, this is your life. You got to make your own decisions. Of course, at one point, you will still be under their roof.
Yeah.
But once you get the chance to move out, you moving out is not you leaving your parents, it's you just changing your environment. Okay, when you're in a very toxic environment, it's very hard for you to strive because you have a lot of things that's going to keep dragging you down, if that makes sense. So if you got to do what you got to do to make yourself happy,
you got to do it.
You got to move out. Then it's fine, it's okay. Your parents might not understand it, they might hate you, whatever it is, but you got to do what you got to do to keep yourself happy and sane, or else it's not going to do you any good.
Correct.
Okay.
As Indians, and I'm assuming, but if not as Asians, as Malaysians and all that, we have this culture of no matter what, they are your parents. We have that culture a lot. And I used to be a very staunch subscriber to that culture, to that idea as well. No matter what, they're your parents. And then I realized it's because I had the privilege of having very great parents.
Same.
So I stick to that idea of no matter what, they're my parents.
Yeah.
But
not
even parents, even if genuinely, I had to meet some people and look at their life eventually to unlearn some of these lessons. I realized that if you had very toxic parents growing up, very shitty parents growing up, which can be possible. At one point, I thought every parent is a great parent, and then I realized parents can be bad too, because they're all humans. And then I realized that if you had a very shitty, toxic parents growing up, it is completely okay for you to cut them off once you're an adult and you're able to take care of yourself. Not to say I completely sort of say go and cut off your parents, but we are saying it is okay to do it. Because if they didn't, however they brought you up is not deserving of you keeping them in your life, and it does damage. If it does cause a lot of harm to you on your day-to-day life by keeping them in your life, then cut them out. Because if you are at that point, if you're someone who is at that point of cutting a parent off, then there must be a reason for it. And there's no judgment. Do what you think is best for you, for you to be happy, for you to grow on, and for you to be to flourish.
Sir. Okay, so talking about toxic parents just now, right? Here's another one, very interesting. Okay. My father is deeply affected mentally because of how his family treated him since he was young. Because of that, he brought me up and my siblings, causing us trauma as well. You know the saying, the abused became the abuser? He became like that.
Oh, shit.
That's pretty interesting if you think about it, right?
Yeah. Is there anything more?
Yeah, no, that's it actually. I was just wanted to say we hear you. That's the first thing. Because again, I cannot relate exactly. But I know a lot of people go through this with families, abusive dads, for example, abusive moms, for example, right? And this one is interesting because normally the abuser, they used to be the abusee, right? They used to be when they were younger, like for example, let's say someone's dad, right? Their dad was the one who got abused by his dad, right? And then it goes on and on and on. It's like a never-ending cycle.
Like they felt like they had no power. So when they grow up, they wanted to exert power to feel like they finally are in power again. That cycle, if allowed, if not careful, that cycle just can continue to generation to generation.
And then these people, like these kids right here, or these children, basically, they go through like that form of trauma, PTSD as they grow up after that, and whatever they tackle in life and all that. We hear you. Sorry for whatever you're going through.
We hope you are able to get sort of out of the shackles of it all and all that. But I think one very important thing is because you sort of identify it's sort of a generational thing. Maybe as you move into your next generation,
you break that
cycle.
You break that
and stuff like that.
Because you know how you don't want to be treated as well.
Correct.
Like I'm pretty sure like you're the kind of person based on what you're telling right here, right now. I don't know if this is a guy or a girl, but sounds like you'll be an amazing mom or dad basically with whatever you are going through right here.
Lots of love from our end.
Lots of love. Okay. Last one.
Okay.
This one is interesting, and I think I'm not putting words.
It's a fly on your head.
Okay. So
it's quite interesting, huh? Okay.
This is lockdown related, which is why it's a bit different. Lockdown was a huge factor.
Okay.
Unknowingly, I wasn't talking or communicating with anyone. P.S. I talk a lot on a daily basis. I felt so trapped in the house. I was diagnosed with anxiety and agoraphobia thereafter. I would cry in public places or when I am alone outside my house.
What is agoraphobia?
I'm going to Google it right now. Right now. On the show.
Thought man did his research. I already Googled it before. But it's okay. We do some real-time learning.
Meaning. We're all going to learn something new right now.
Okay, what's agoraphobia?
Extreme or irritational fear of entering open or crowded places. Or leaving one's own home. Or being in places from which escape is difficult.
Oh shit! So that means I'm assuming with the context of the person, they just shut themselves off.
Yes.
Ever since the lockdown, and just sort of got used to that sort of.
Because I know during lockdown time, a lot of people, like some people were literally far away from families, from homes and all that kind of stuff, right? And a lot of people must have went through this as well, right? Especially those who are much more extroverted people, outgoing people, and you are kind of forced to be at home and like you shut down from, and maybe they need like that physical connection with them instead of just doing virtual or phone calls and all that. They need that. A lot of people a lot of people actually went through a lot of mental health issues during lockdown season. So many factors.
Just being trapped in those four walls for a lot of people.
Yes.
Some people were blessed enough to have like bigger houses, more space, lesser family members in the house so that they all have their own spot of space if they want their alone time. But a lot of people were stuck with like a small enough space or too many people in the same house. You don't get your personal space and stuff like that.
Let's not forget quarantine time as well. If you're forced to quarantine, remember,
that's even
like if you're
up.
traveling, you came back, quarantine in a hotel for like 1 week, 2 weeks straight in like behind those four walls, just you alone.
It's just messed up for a lot of people
crazy,
as well.
Right? If you think about it.
I think the lockdown did do a lot for a lot of people. Funnily enough, I think for a lot of people it was extremely detrimental.
It is.
But for a lot of people it was actually like a lifesaver.
Yeah, like in my case, I told you it's a blessing in disguise. You see, but for this person, it was the other way around.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you think about it.
It's funny how that one global event had so many different effects on so many different people.
It did.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But yeah, we hear you. Right now, because lockdown is over as well, I hope you're doing much better right now. You do you. If you're the kind of person where you love going out, being like, the extrovert you are, spending time with people and do what you gotta do. Yeah.
I obviously don't know exactly how to tackle something like this, but
even me too.
As it comes down to it these days, in most cases, the internet is your best friend.
Yeah.
Whatever situation you're in, there must be at least one person in the world who's going through something similar as you that you can find on the internet.
100%.
Not to say find them directly, but find that kind of relatable
someone
sort
you can vibe with as well.
Yeah. No, I don't necessarily mean like a person directly. I'm talking about you can search up articles. You can search up something where your situation is explained.
Yeah.
Your situation is all that stuff, and you can see what they say and how do they cope with it. Yeah. All right. Is it my turn now?
It's your turn, sir. It's your turn.
All right. This episode is kind of long.
It is a very long episode.
If you don't cut down anything, this is probably our longest episode.
Yep. I hope you guys watch it. I hope so, please.
As usual, there's chapters. If by this point you haven't realized,
and if you're enjoying the content so far, give the video a thumbs up. Man. It's a lot of effort. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Just give the video a thumbs up for the effort as well.
Correct.
And we're here showing up 9 weeks in a row. So
9 weeks in a row. All right. Moving on to my IG question. I asked people. So Kirtan talked about, are you going through depression? And give us a story. I asked about, have you overcome depression? And if you have, how did you do it? So I got a couple of it. I'll try to blast past it. Someone said, recently went through a breakup. Both of us felt it was better to still be in contact, like calls and chats and stuff. Even though after they already broken up, they still wanted to be in contact, but nothing romantic. It's a way I overcome, but one thing I'm sure is that when he finds, so this is a girl lah. She says they've been in contact. It's a way to overcome it, but one thing she knows for sure is that when he finds another girlfriend, she would feel the worst.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to bring this up because, yes, the whole depression thing and all, but this is something a bit interesting because personally, that is something I decided to do for a while as well. I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe if I'm still in touch with my ex a little bit here and there, it will sort of help us move on. And we are to a certain extent. Of course, it has to sting. But why I wanted to bring that up is because a lot of people would say, you don't speak to your ex. If you break up, you break up. That's it. Cut it, done and dusted. But not all situations are the same. Not all breakups are the same.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people might break up, but they might still be in a place where they can talk to each other. They can be there with each other. And if they can navigate it, it might actually help. It might help to not go completely cold turkey and end everything. They might sort of just be able to help each other. Okay, we are done, but there's no rules that necessarily says we cannot. Here and there, let's just check on each other, because we're used to it. So instead of cutting it immediately, we can fade it off.
Yeah.
Right. The reason why I bring that up is because breaking up can cause a lot of stuff, including depression.
Yeah.
And this person decided to find a way to go through it that usually is against the rule book. And whether it works or not, because she says, when he finds a girlfriend, I'm going to feel like shit. So then again, there's a cons of it all. There's still a con of it. But what I'm saying is that there can be unique approaches to how you deal with your depression and your thing. It doesn't always have to go by the book. Is being in contact with your ex recommended? Probably not. But what I'm saying is everybody have different stories, and what you feel is the best, you should try to do what you feel is the best. You don't always have to go by the rule book. What's your take? I feel like you disagree.
Yeah, I do disagree.
All right. What's your take on it?
Because she says she'll feel worse when he does get with someone. That means you clearly will not be okay with it. That means you clearly still are talking to the person because you're still trying to hold on to something.
Hold on to feelings. Yeah.
Yes. So there's a reason why I disagree to that. If you are okay with that person getting together with someone else, then you're okay with it. That's why you're basically communicating with them with zero expectations in return, and you're okay with it, right?
Correct.
So that's why I disagree with it. But if you have like completely zero, you've completely detached from the person, then it's a different case scenario.
Correct.
But in my case, because I've also tried being friends with my ex like in the past, past few relationships ago, it never worked out well. Because there's always some form of attachment there.
Correct. You can never be like that forever. Yeah. But what my idea was that you can maybe, instead of cutting it cold, you can fade it off. But that's the part where I draw the line when she says, if he finds a girlfriend, I will feel worse. That means this is not just about fading it off. This is you holding on to something. Yeah. To be honest. So that's But my point of it being unique approaches are okay. Whether it works or not, it's only up to you guys to find out. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
All right. Next, my depression was because this is a bit interesting. My depression was caused by my own mind.
Okay.
I had a crazy addiction of porn and ejaculated every single day.
Okay. Nice. No, I mean nice because like I said about porn addiction just now, right? You talked about porn
earlier. That's why I was interested. I was about to end myself due to the guilty feeling.
Okay.
Things that helped me to stop was gym, praying to God, in bracket he put repent, know that no one is perfect, it is okay to make mistakes, and learn to control my brain.
Love it.
Yeah. This is very interesting because crazy addiction to porn is not something you come across every day. And you see, sometimes and he says he ejaculated every day. That means I'm assuming he watches porn and
bro, truth be told, right, there's so many guys addicted to porn without them even knowing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm stressed, I'm gonna watch porn. If I'm tired, I'm gonna watch porn. Correct. If I can't sleep at night, I'm gonna watch porn.
Correct.
All of this because not because porn is great, no, because it gives you like that euphoric, happy feeling while you're about to ejaculate. That's
correct.
Why, right?
Correct. And yeah, you were saying sorry.
Yeah. No, so that's a very good way of like looking at. That's why some people get into alcohol addiction. Some people get into drug addiction. Yeah. It's because it gives you like that feeling where you can't really get it when you are sober, if that makes sense. So the porn addiction thing is also very similar.
It's just another way to
just escape reality basically at that very moment. Yeah.
I would like to clarify here, watching porn obviously it's not bad, but of course there's
the moment he said addiction, he knows it's overboard.
So it's him doing the diagnosis where if he realized I have a porn addiction, this is bad, that means it has caused him to feel it was to a point where he feels like shit. Then that means that you are at a point where it has gotten too much.
Yes. And the beauty about it, he's very well aware of it. That's the beauty about it.
And he did those couple of things in order to
good job, man.
Control his brain.
Jeez, good job. That's amazing.
Good job, G. Hope you're doing good. Next, I would say hope you're doing good. I wouldn't say do you, because you've probably do lesser of you. Okay. All right. Next, how do you get over your depression? Focusing on myself, my actions and thoughts, because it gives me a sense of control, as depression usually makes you feel hopeless.
Yes.
Therapy helps. Finding the root cause of treating it helps. Gradual exposure to what I've avoided in the past and accepting it as part of my journey.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
I was like, this person has got it on lock.
Yeah, I love that.
So realize that depression makes you usually feel helpless.
Yeah.
So focus on all the things that you can control. Kirtan brought this up earlier in the thing. Therapy helps, of course. Finding the root cause and treating it helps. I brought that up earlier as well. You go and find the root cause of it all. You break all your ego and find it. And what I liked here and what I thought was unique is gradual exposure to what that person avoided in the past and accepting as part of the journey. Remember that one person who messaged you and said they just push people away?
Correct.
That must be something in the past.
Yes.
So slowly exposing themselves back to it.
Because a lot of people have PTSD with certain things that they've gone through in the past. Yeah. And sometimes running away from it is not the way you solve something.
Correct.
Instead, you accept it, acknowledge it that it has happened, but it's okay. And I'll just gradually expose myself
You
back
might not be
into
ready for it immediately.
Yes, correct. So you gradually expose. Fucking love it. Fucking love it.
It's very, very good advice.
Such a good one. Such a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Next. I don't think this person has a slightly different perspective. I don't think one overcomes their depression. We just learn to maneuver around it in our own headspace and try to surround ourselves with good people. It lingers, therapy helps, but in the end we will succumb to it. Okay, it went dark a bit. And it most definitely is not a taboo. It should be spoken up more often. Yeah. So this person believes that depression regardless will always be there. The part where they say in the end we will succumb to it, I would like to disagree. But I do think there is a bit of a truth in that. I think what they mean here is that when they say we just learn to maneuver around in and this thing, I think they're not talking about depression. What they're talking about is grief.
Yeah. Maybe, I'm not sure exactly what he means by or she means by that.
Yeah.
It's more of like, like how some people when you break up, right, they talk about how with time you just move on. You don't really move on. You just accept it because that part of your life will always be in your memories.
Correct.
You won't just like completely forget it,
When
unless
you think about it, you might still get some sad vibes.
Yeah, but you just accept it, acknowledge it. And maybe this person is saying something similar, like, hey, depression is never going to completely go away. It's going to be there. It's just part of my life, but I accept it now instead of letting it actually crumble me down. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Why I mentioned what they're talking about might be more related to grief rather than depression is because grief is obviously, let's say you've lost someone or break up or whatever happened that caused you grief, right? It never truly goes away. I've seen this, like I want to do a quick sort of analogy. I've seen this thing on Twitter and I think this is something that a lot of people should know about. They talk about grief as a ball in a box. And inside that box, on the inside of the box, there is a button. That button is the grief button. Okay. And there is a ball inside. Anytime the button is pressed is when you feel grief, when you feel like terrible, right? In the beginning, the ball is huge, and the box is the box is moved around a lot. In the beginning, the ball is huge. Yeah. So, imagine a box this big, and a ball this big, and there's a button. If you move the box, almost every second the ball is hitting the button. Yeah. Because it's so huge. Yes. And so you will in the beginning you feel grief. Like back to back. You like almost non-stop. What happens is over time when people say I've gotten over it or I've gotten better, the ball over time what happens is the button doesn't go away. That grief button always remains there in that particular reason of why you're feeling grief. Let's say somebody passed away and that grief of that. But what happens is the ball gets smaller and smaller over time. Now doesn't mean eventually it gets so small that when you move the box, the ball is so small that very rarely it
probability
hits that
of hitting is very less already.
Right? Yeah. Now, it might very rarely hit it. But if by the off chance it does go and hit it, that pain that you feel because of that button is being hit is still equally as same as initially. Yeah. What changed is not that you don't feel that grief as strongly anymore. You just feel it lesser often.
Yeah. The frequency reduces.
Frequency reduces. Yeah. But when you do feel it,
yeah,
even though it's very rare, it might still feel as strong.
Yeah.
It just happens very rarely as you move on. And it happens lesser and lesser as you move on and on. And I thought that was like a very beautiful analogy about
it is. I fucking love that.
Yeah, love about grief. Damn. And it's actually on Twitter. If people have actually drawn it, probably if you go through it, I'll try to see if I can find it and put it there. So I thought of bringing that up. Okay, next.
All right.
Give me a minute. Okay. Went through depression and anxiety because of a breakup. Saw a psychiatrist for that back then. Currently watching Chill and Spill, kind of helping me through what I'm going through now. Thank you so much, guys. Lots of love and so much respect.
Lots of love to you too.
I purposely selected this because the person said they listen to Chill and Spill. That's all.
That's amazing. The fact that we are able to like touch some of you guys. Yeah. Because we've gotten so many amazing messages actually. I've never really like screenshotted and showed anything. But like it's just so personal to a point where like so many of them actually say like thank you so much. What you do, what you guys share, taboo topics, all these things.
Correct.
It's helped you guys in some kind of way. It keeps us going to keep doing the episodes as well. So we don't stop.
So for those who say why these two guys should just shut up and go to therapy instead of doing this is why we do it as well.
Yeah.
All right. Move it next. I think this was good. It's a 3-part. I'll go through it fast.
All right.
How to get over your depression. Fake it till you make it. I was in a phase where I can't sleep at nights. I was scared to look at the fan. It was haunting. What if I hang in it and then it might be done? So he had suicidal thoughts. Okay. But I cry and close my face with pillows and I sleep. I ghosted from all social media and people too. Nobody understood it. I worked out every day. I work out outdoor mostly on my terrace. So I wake up late every day after all the crying. So I wait for like 5 p.m. every day. It's not that sunny I can work out. I work out like hell. After 7 when it's dark, I cry again while working out. Maybe you talk about when it's night, it just hits you harder.
Yeah.
Somehow I made myself happier. All my life I was overweight. Then I came to a good shape. Even though my problem was not, this is the part why I selected this particular answer. Even though my problem was not solved, I was happy with my body for the first time. The first time happy with my body. Dressing up the way I wanted. It started with projecting as though I was happy. And then I eventually became happy. Problems are still there, but I'm happy.
Nice.
I like this because maybe he did have it under his control to solve his problem.
Is it a he?
I'm
not sure.
Actually, to be honest,
he or
he or she. Could be maybe it's not under their control to solve their problem, but they try to tackle something that is within their control.
Yeah, love that.
They worked out. Of course, they did all the crying and all that, but they worked out, put some effort into their body because that is within their control. And the moment you do that, that gives you that idea that a lot of things can be if I just have to focus on what's in my control and how I can make those things better for myself.
Yeah, that's like one way or the first step of you just taking care of yourself.
Correct.
Doesn't necessarily have to be just working out. Could be just you taking care of your food intake, for example.
Yeah.
And physical health, right, honestly really correlates with mental health.
Correct.
Okay. Because the way you train, or not even train, you take care of yourself, the food you eat and all that correlates with mental health so much, it's insane.
Yeah.
For example, when you train, right, or you start losing weight or you start building muscle, maybe you're skinny, you put on weight, or you're someone who's overweight, you lost weight, right? It helps a lot with a feel-good factor.
Correct.
The way you fit in your clothes, the way you look, that self-confidence. You're not doing it for anyone, you're doing it for yourself. And you know for a fact the results are showing because of the hard work you put into it. This is not given, it's earned.
Yeah.
It's literally earned, And it becomes a feel-good factor like, oh shit, I'm actually doing something. It's actually working. And then small things like people around you start noticing, you gain a bit more respect. And then because you also feel like better in your clothes and all these things, you start smiling a bit more. Whenever you meet someone, you're a bit more proud of yourself. It's the small things like this, which is it correlates with one another. I think this is what this person went through, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And see, a lot of times when we feel depressed about stuff and we are sad about stuff, you see, if we had the ability to go and change it, we would change it, correct? We will go and solve it and fix it. A lot of times it's because we can't do it, because it's not in our control anymore, So we feel this way. But when we go and that's why this whole working out, I got a lot of, I went to gym. I just didn't select all of it because it's going to be repetitive, but I got so much of it. When you go and actually do something with even if you are someone who looks physically fine, you're not overweight or you're not underweight or you look fine, but if you work out a little bit, you can put on even more muscle and this, and you can get a lot more, you can tone yourself a lot more, and all that stuff. There will be some form of changes within you, right? And that change, you would know that it came because of what you did. Yes. And that was something that was under your control. Yes. And then, yes, you still have the issues that, like this guy said, the problems are there. You still have the issues that makes you sad about. But I feel like what your brain tells you is that, yeah, it's there. I am sad about it. But what am I going to focus on tomorrow? I've seen with evidence that if I were to spend my time doing this, I can control the outcome of it. You know what I mean? So I'd rather put my mind on this because I can control this. Yeah. And from that working out, it goes to your job or to your work and this and that. And eventually your brain just decides to spend most of your time doing something that is under your control, because that's way more rewarding than focusing on one thing that is not under your control. And I think, like you said, that's why that physical health, mental health.
It really correlates. Yeah.
Correct. All right, next one. How to overcome depression? I moved to a completely different city when I was 18. Okay. Had no friends, no job, nothing. Basically started life from the bottom again. Fresh life. I'm doing great right now. Good job. Bought my own house, got married, and I'm happy.
Congrats, man.
Congrats. Good job, guy or girl, whoever you are. Why I wanted to bring this up is oftentimes a new start is usually what you need. Yeah. And sometimes some people, obviously not everybody can move to a different city. Yeah, but what you can do is try to create some form of a reset in your life. Yeah. For me, it was moving to this place.
Yeah.
Moving to a new place allowed me to also have the idea of I'm doing something. Okay, there is a new chapter in my life. Yeah. I'm doing something new, right? And going through a breakup or a divorce was I am going to a new chapter, but that was a negative event, and then I'm starting a chapter on a negative event. So what I did, I also moved to a place like this, which I was very excited about. And so I made my new chapter start off from, in my mind, I tricked myself into believing my new chapter starts because I've moved in here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
it's a change of environment. It makes a very big difference. When your environment is toxic, regardless of whatever your environment is, if it's toxic, it's toxic. The more you stay in it, you can go for a holiday, for example, 2 weeks or a month, but you're coming back to the same environment eventually. I saw this one video on TikTok. It's damn interesting, actually. Very quick one. There's a fish in a tank. The tank is toxic. Toxic, basically dirty as fuck.
Yeah.
So what they did was they just took the fish out, put it in another tank. That's a holiday for the fish. They left the fish there for 1 week. Fish was damn happy, healthy, all that. But holiday is done. Put the fish back to the previous tank. It became sad and depressed again. Get it? Because it was not really a complete change of environment. It was just temporary, then just for you to go back in there.
In there.
So there's keyword, this guy, he moved. He started a whole new life and all that. And for people out there, maybe if you're going through stuff like this, if you feel like you have the capacity to do so, try it out. You got nothing to lose. You know? Especially if you're in a younger age, you can take risks. Try it out. Why not? Right? If it's the greater good for you, then do what you got to do, right?
Obviously, it doesn't have to be moving to a different city. You know, it could be something smaller than that. It's like moving to a new place. But even it doesn't have to be something like this as well. It can be literally as simple as it. You could literally just change up the entire setting of your bedroom.
Let's just say your bedroom, your house.
You know, take your bed, move it to a different spot, clean up everything, move everything. Sometimes just cleaning and organizing helps a lot.
And we're just talking about the physicality of the environment. Let's just say if it's people who are toxic around you, honestly, just cut them off. It might be painful at first, trust me. I've cut so many people off, bro. It's insane. Just cut. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of energy.
Because sometimes the thing is, it's not about changing what is causing you the issue. Sometimes it's just you need to get into the mindset of, okay, I'm done. I want to be done being sad. I want to be happy. And for that, you just need to have...
You gotta please yourself, man.
Having an external environment that feels new will try to always give you that idea. Maybe that person in your life might still, let's say it's a parent. It's hard to cut off a parent. Like, yes, we can advise and say, cut them off. But it might be hard for a lot of reasons. So maybe you can't cut them off, or maybe you can limit yourself maybe. But if you come to your house, let's say your house is a toxic environment because you have a shitty, toxic parent. But when you go up to your room and suddenly you've changed everything in your room, it feels new. You can put yourself into that external change in your environment can sort of reflect back in your head and be like, it's a new phase in my life. I'm not gonna let this affect me much, and that will help a lot. And that's the reason I brought this up.
Love it.
All right, last one. The depression came around when the love of my life let me go 4 years ago, and I've been stuck up ever since when he found someone new.
Okay.
I overcame it by becoming a hoe. Definitely would recommend.
I mean, you do you, girl, okay?
You do you, and you let all the people who do you, I guess.
I mean, being a hoe, honestly, is nothing wrong. If you want to be a hoe, just make sure you're single, that's it. Just have fun.
Correct. As long as you're single, nobody can say anything about
4
you.
4 years. I'm just trying to think. 4 years?
It's quite a long time to be stuck up on that someone.
So you decide to be a hoe.
It doesn't matter. I mean, people have their timetable.
I'm just thinking, I still have time.
To be a hoe, lah.
Yeah, I still have time. 4 years maybe.
The invite is open for everyone, guys.
4 years. Relax.
So you're going to be a hoe after 4 years, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you're going to be a hoe up to 4 years.
No. I'm a good boy now.
So in 2027, you'll be a hoe.
Yeah, if I'm still single.
Book your calendars, guys.
If I'm single. I might be married by then, I think.
Yeah, no way you can be a hoe. I'll slap you on the face.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it
for episode 9.
That's it for episode 9.
Highly
even
requested.
Being a hoe, if that helps you, as long as everything.
If you're happy, just do you, bro.
And
Life's
you know what
short.
you're doing. You're wearing protection and all that. Go ahead.
Life's too short.
Life's too short.
Do what you gotta do. Have fun.
Again, you know what's good. You know what's bad for you.
Exactly. It's your life, your journey. Okay?
That's episode 9.
Episode 9. Wait, listen. This is our longest video, bro. How many minutes is it?
1 hour 50 minutes.
They're gonna hate us.
Okay, it's 1 hour 50 minutes as it stands. I don't know if you're cutting. I don't know, but before it reaches 2,
we are screwed. We can't even do like a part 1, part 2, We are screwed.
Anyway, we'll let tomorrow versions of ourselves
for now.
Worry about this.
Guys, it's 9:45 p.m.
I haven't even had dinner
on
yet.
a Friday night.
I'm very hungry.
I came to your place at like 5 p.m.
Correct.
We've been here almost 5 hours, okay? The work is real, is mad.
The grind is real.
Please give the video a thumbs up. If you are still watching all the way till the end, you are the real OG.
What a G.
You are the real OG, okay? If you're watching till the end, you comment down below. We'll give you some merch.
I watched the entire thing.
We'll give you some merch.
You got merch,
You see, people who watch till the end and even know this. Yeah, we'll give you guys some
Thank you
free
for
merch.
watching, guys. You
Okay.
can listen to this on Spotify,
Wait,
Apple
are we
Podcasts,
doing
and all
We're
that.
supposed to do a question in
Oh
the end. Remember?
yeah. Okay. What was it? Do you remember?
No.
I know you don't remember. I remember. The question is, this is one aspect that we now always spoke about. If you are someone who had to very closely deal with another person, it could be a partner, it could be a friend, it could be a son or a daughter, it could be a parent. If you had to personally very closely deal with someone who had depression, we are sure it must have had some effects on you. So it's not about how you help them, but what sort of effects did it have on you having to deal with somebody who has severe depression?
That's a really good
like
question.
That. Because that actually we always don't look at those people. Those people who are around you sometimes do get the brunt of it as well.
Yeah.
You know,
they do,
when you're a partner and you're trying to love somebody, but that person has depression, it takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
You know, or any other relationship. So if you're in someone who was in that kind of situation, how did it affect you? How was that for you? Let us know. And also before we finish this, I want to also again mention that, as we mentioned, we are not mental health experts when it comes to this. But what we do want to do is leave this floor open and openly invite people who are mental health experts.
Like actually accredited by a university?
Yes.
Like an actual psychologist?
Correct.
Psychiatrist?
If you're watching all this and you're thinking, guys, you guys don't know what you're talking about, then
we would love to invite you onto the show.
Yes, please let
This
us
is an
know
open
in
invitation.
the comment section, in our DMs or whatever.
Yeah.
Because we do want to, there's still so much more to discuss about this topic. We do want to carry this forward to another episode. But by that time, we want to probably have an expert sitting here with us.
Yeah.
Who can do so much more justice to this
Yes,
topic.
that would be really dope actually.
Right? So it's an open invitation. Let us know.
Yes,
Yep.
sir. So
All
that is it, episode 9.
That's right, episode 9. Do all the subscribing, liking, and following and everything. And we will see you
in the next one. Episode
It's going to
10.
be a special one.
Episode 10 is a special one.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
My name is Tanesh.
My name is Kirtan.
This is ChillNSpill Podcast.